people. We'll just chat with the people there,
Cool.
Ryan.
I've already pressed record on my end. I also
They
noticed
can
when
see you
I
now.
live. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they can see just just keep it on side. I know you were saying some pretty controversial things just a moment ago, but I wanted to let you know.
I was just about to. I was about to. I was saying like, oh my god, like I can't believe everything's going wrong today.
Everything's going okay today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Tony Baker's here. Kato was first. Kato was right in there.
Yeah.
It's almost like she knew.
Sean,
Super Nintendad is here. Becky, Brendan Myers, Court Lalonde. We got people here. Ryan Turford. Very neat.
Let me tell you what. I'm ready to give everyone the weather report this week, you guys. It's gonna be.
Oh, he's got the green screen, dude. Why don't we?
Oh, do we want to just do dueling green screens? Because I forgot to turn on a background today.
Well, this will take just a second. How do I do this now? I need to actually add like one of my cameras to it. I need to adjust my thing. I don't think I'm going to do this right now. I'll do it maybe next week. Was Ryan Turford talking about his feelings? Yeah, Ryan Turford gets all his feelings talk before the show. And that's always what I'm upset about. Oh, look at you. Oh, I see what you're doing. Oh, don't do it. Don't do it, Sean.
I'm going to go back to just the green screen because I don't want Sean to be left hanging here.
Well, it shouldn't actually take too much. Video capture device. I already have it here. I just need to add it. My camera, the settings for the camera is a bit of a mess on this thing. I have to go through OBS to even access it. I don't know what's wrong with it. I've lost my wizard, whatever it's called. It's cool to see people here though. Remember when everything was a wizard, like install wizard? Everything is a wizard. It's all pipes.
Kato, I already voted on your poll, and I said you should go to Publix because Firehouse is overpriced for what you get. As much as I think Firehouse is okay, I think they have good food, but they're way too expensive.
Publix is a grocery store?
It is a grocery store.
We got food poisoning.
They probably
from
have good
Publix.
sandwiches. I've never been to Publix before.
We got their food poisoning from there. They mishandled our meat, Ryan.
Jeez,
on our honeymoon. Yeah, in Florida, we got food poisoning, just nasty, out of my ears, out of my eyeballs, out of my mouth, nose, everything.
I don't think anyone wants that.
Absolutely disgusting.
Then you know what? I think I'm on Sean's side then.
Yeah, no.
You should
this camera thing isn't working right now, so up to the green screen, which sucks because it's the only way I can adjust my white balance, and only I ever really notice anything about this. From Publix in Florida.
You do that. I'm going back to the hacker den then because I actually want a background. And the nice thing is today, Sean, unlike the RPG cave when right before we went live, my camera, as soon as I pressed the go live button, went to 5 frames per second with this hacker background.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
enough.
even when I turned it off, it was the same. So I was like, you know what? No video this week.
Brian X says respect for Sean for wearing a Nintendo hoodie on an Xbox podcast. What can I say?
I mean, here at Carpool Gaming, Sean, we kind of just wear what we want.
We just wear what we want. Look, I got a Jenga set behind me, the shape of a Series X. It's one of the best things they've ever done, man.
I mean, I've got an Xbox hat and a bunch of Xbox shirts, and I'm just wearing a plain T-shirt today and a Calgary Flames hat. So there you go.
It's all good. Well, it's very cool that everybody's here, Court Lalonde, because Sean never changes his clothes. That's true, actually.
Yeah.
I just kind of go through. I have a dozen or so white T-shirts and some nice sweatpants, and that's it, Ryan.
Well, this is kind of like Sean's business attire because
Xavier Reyes is here. Hey, man. Sorry.
Yo, Xavier, how's it going? But funny thing is, Sean basically goes to work, and then comes here, and then goes back to work again.
Yeah.
So this is literally Sean's wearing his work attire. He throws that suit jacket on top of what he's wearing.
Exactly. Now. This is it. This is my wardrobe change.
Yeah.
And look how cozy. I really look forward to this, though. It's very nice. Show us your pants. It's just black sweats. Just black sweatpants.
But you're the pants man, Sean.
Well,
they got to show people the pants.
Some fly.
That's how this works.
How about I just, instead of actually showing my face, it's just like my feet kind of like walking around. Like a crab. I was doing crab walking with Ellie at the pool at Lincoln's birthday this past weekend. I was like, "What are we?" She's like, "Crab people." I'm like, "Yeah." Not a V-neck today. Nope. This is a Kirkland's classic crew cut. No capris. I don't have many capri pants. TPR.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, Sean, I'm just wearing shorts today.
Can everybody hear everything okay? Are we coming in pretty clear? Just a quick double check.
I know that I was a little bit soft the last time we live streamed.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure we don't have the same problem this week.
But now we're streaming from my computer. Yes, I have all the power.
But didn't we live stream from your computer on?
Oh, is that what you're saying? Oh, I thought you meant on the RPG Cave, the last one.
No.
Um.
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure because I know last week on the live stream I was a bit soft on Sean's end.
The whole time?
Make sure that's okay this time. Apparently, the whole time, no one said anything.
Nobody said anything. It's like, hey, Ryan.
I went back and watched it later. I'm like, why am I like?
Oh, I'm sorry,
10
man.
decibels quieter than everyone else. No, neither of us noticed. So it's all good. It's all good. Anyways, we should probably get into things.
We should get into things. Let's do it, man. Are you guys ready for this? I need another button so that it just does me, but also I kind of like seeing your reaction to my screaming.
Now people can just see me just stare right into the camera while you do it, because that's literally what I do.
You're just like, so embarrassing. Okay, Nick, Brian, Becky, Xavier, everybody, this is for you. What are we talking about today? Sonic? Is Sonic on the dock today?
Talking about Sonic. I'm ready to show you the chart, Sean.
All right,
we'll Sonic chart.
Hey everyone, it's me, Sean Capri. I'm glad you're here because you're listening to the most horsepowerful podcast on the internet. It's the Xbox Drive. I'm on a Skype call with my friend Ryan Turford, the weatherman on the moose, and I have no idea what he's waving back and forth on, and we're going to talk about Sonic, so jump on into the Xbox Drive. Oh, I got to hit the button. There it is.
No power greater than X.
Hello, Ryan Turford. That intro is shorter than I ever remember, to be honest with you. Now that we actually have to listen to it and watch it all happen. It's happening live here at youtube.com/carpoolgaming. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. I mean, I love the fact that you had no idea what I was doing during the intro. It's because actually on the pre-show when we were talking about in the chat, you were telling an adorable story about you and your family at the pool, being crabs together. And me, these are my crab hands. See, because this is my giant claw, and then this is my one short part of the claw. So I'm a crab person.
You are one step away from becoming the crab man on the moose, or the weatherman on the crab, or something like. The animal kingdom surrounding Ryan continues to grow. And it's all because we're live at youtube.com/carpoolgame. We're doing this now, man. We're Patreon powered right now. Like, this is, the people wanted this, so here we are.
Yeah, actually, the people asked for this.
The people.
This is what they get.
Hard to believe.
This is the experience that they get. People actually, now that they've been watching the video version, which of course, if you missed the live stream, you can go visit over on youtube.com/carpoolgaming. You can actually see, what we're talking about, because we are doing our video there now on the live stream every single Wednesday, probably at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless something changes. And if something does, we'll let y'all know.
Yeah.
But now people can finally see how I react when Sean's yelling at me every week, which is exciting or horrifying, depending on who you ask. Maybe next week I'll actually kind of do what Console Kato did, because she brought a Squishmallow, which I really appreciated. During the intro. Maybe I go get my stuffed Bon Akuma from Danganronpa from the other room.
That's
Sean,
pretty sweet.
Kind of do the same thing.
Man.
I like Danganronpa, Sean. I don't know if you knew that.
I gotta go grab some. I got a bunch of. Dude, it was my son's birthday and Easter weekend. We got so many toys in this house. Chelsea made like this custom with her Cricket, like this gigantic Yoshi, which I know has nothing to do with Xbox, but whatever. I'm wearing a Nintendo shirt for today, right. And it's very cool. We got lots of stuff around here, but you're also wearing a Calgary Flames hat, Ryan. I feel attacked, and I've just got my Edmonton Oilers hat just back here. But I can't reach it. My thing is that this is
the superior team in the Pacific Division is the Calgary Flames. I'm sorry, Sean. That's the truth. And in fact, I just spoke the truth, and you didn't even hear me because you had your headphones.
I was ignoring. It wasn't the truth.
If you don't
we're fighting.
Apparently
we're fighting right now. Mm-hmm.
Good Lord. Well, anyways, we should clean the garage a little bit. So folks at home, if you want to support the show, there's a number of ways to do that. Number one, if you're watching on the live stream right now over on youtube.com/carpoolgaming, make sure to drop a like. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. What you think about the games coming to Game Pass this month, or maybe what you think about Sonic, because we're going to talk about Sonic in a little bit. And of course, ding, ding, ding. Ring that bell for notifications for when we go live. All that stuff helps the channel grow, so we really appreciate y'all doing that. Also, if you want to hear us on audio feeds as well, if you can't check out the live stream, if you just want an audio version, head over to your podcast feed of choice, like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play. We're on all the podcast services, and make sure to hit the subscribe button there as well. Maybe leave a nice little Apple Podcast review or a Spotify rating, because all that stuff helps the show get discovered as well. Also, if you want early access to this and all of our shows, heading over to Patreon. Patreon.com/carpoolgaming is how you do that. Throw a little tip in the old tip jar, and out comes content. We've got a lot of exclusive content coming out. Also, we have a limited edition shirt, a founder's t-shirt for Carpool Gaming at the $50 ultimate producer level. So if you don't want to miss out on about that, again, that's a Patreon only thing. So go check it out there. And then speaking of merch, our last piece of news here, we have a merch store, Sean.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do this.
Yeah, I do.
And the link is in the description of this video or the podcast, where you can go check our merch out there, including an Xbox Drive t-shirt, Sean. We finally have an Xbox Drive t-shirt on the store. So if you want to, sport the Xbox Drive logo as you're walking around, you definitely head on over to our merch store and go do that. All right. Without all the way, Sean, let's grab our 8 tracks, pop them in. It is time for the playlist. And it's been a quiet week for games this week, Sean, but this one that you played this week, I'm very excited to hear you talk about, although I know you probably can't say too much about it now because you're a part of this little thing we do on the Discord. Tell me about it.
The Backtrackers, I've talked about this once or twice before. The Backtrackers is a video game book club. You know the deal, Ryan Turford. How many book clubs have you been a part of in the past, Ryan? Have you been part of 6 or 7 book clubs, I think? You get together with the old ladies on the block, and you pick a book, and then you get together, and you sell each other Tupperware, and you eat brownies, and you drink warm milk. Like, that's the typical book club experience, I think. Am I mostly right about that?
I don't think I've ever been into typical book club, Sean, so I'm going to just nod my head and say sure.
Yeah, so you pick Backtrackers is a totally community-driven thing. This is awesome. Like, you and I really have nothing to do with it. Shout out to Marcus O'Neill and Delroy from the community for going, like, we just want to do this thing where we pick a game as a group, everybody agrees to play it, then we get together one Saturday morning and we talk about the thing. We talk about the game. And this has been going on for a few months, and I've really wanted to jump in with one of the games that they've picked before, but I just hasn't really aligned. And they actually met on Saturday, which was the day after what was Yumi Capri Day, Carpool Gaming Day. So I wasn't able to join the last one, but now this one, the one that's upcoming, and people should jump on this, get in the Discord, get into that Backtrackers channel, because we're all playing Life is Strange True Colors, which recently hit Game Pass. So very, I guess, important. It's topical for this audience. So that's what I'm playing, Ryan. I got through the first chapter last night in preparation to play and talk about this game with many other people. I feel like you did play this when it launched. Like, you were kind of a day one person on this one. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I'm a huge fan of the Life is Strange series. I mean, going all the way back to the first one in 2015. And I had to play day one, and I loved it. True Colors, I think it was one of my favorite games of last year. So I'm very glad you're finally getting a chance to play it, Sean.
Well, you know me, and I've talked about this as well. These games are pretty heavy, like that you're getting involved in not necessarily like heavy gameplay systems or anything crazy like that. Like, that it's about the story, it's about the characters. There's probably some pretty heavy things to deal with, the themes and everything. And I just played through the first chapter last night, to be honest with you, and I'm like completely taken. I am all in on this thing. And the way that chapter 1 ends, I'm like weeping. I'm weeping already, man. And I don't know if it's just because I'm exhausted. You can see it in my eyes. When my eyes are excited but still closed, that's when I'm a little bit on the tired side. But I'm enamored with this game, with the set of characters, with the location. I cannot wait to completely geek out about this game with everybody in the Backtrackers, because I know that Marcus and Delroy do a wonderful job just like facilitating a wonderful conversation about these things. It's not quite as random as what I just yammer on about. So I'm excited about the game, and I'm excited to participate in this thing that's been going on in our community for the last little while.
Yeah, absolutely. So folks at home, if you want to get involved with the Backtrackers, if you've played Life is Strange True Colors, or if you want to, become part of this awesome book club, just join the Carpool Gaming Discord. We have a link to it in the show notes as well. And there's a section just in the Discord called the Backtrackers, and you can find all the information there, or you can reach out to Delroy or Marcus O'Neill on the Discord, and they can answer any questions you might have to be part of it. The discussion usually happens like once a month on the Discord in a special section, usually on a Saturday morning, which is why I'm usually unable to attend. I would love to come to this one because I love True Colors, and I would love to talk about it with people.
You should come.
But If it falls on a time where I'm able to make it, I will definitely come. But
I'm gonna look up the
otherwise,
time.
I'm glad that you're playing it because I'm really excited to pick your brain about it when you finish it, Sean. Because
Dude,
I love that game. It's so good.
I just love that, like, you play as Alex, who is moving away from her, kind of the area where she grew up. She seemed to have been torn away from her brother. She's finally like rejoining him in a small town in Colorado, a small mountain town in Colorado, not South Park. And she gets to meet all the townsfolk, and she's kind of getting reacquainted with everybody. And yeah, she has this amazing power of the superpower of empathy. She can feel what other people are feeling in the extreme sense, where somebody's really angry, then it impacts her in a particular way. When people are feeling scared, it impacts her in a particular way. And I think it's fascinating. I think it's so cool how they keep finding interesting ways to explore things that still connect the Life is Strange games. Like there's a superpower kind of element to it. Of course, the first one with the time travel and rewinding time. This still feels like a Life is Strange game for all those reasons, but is totally different for all the, like, it's a different set of characters as far as I can tell. It's not really the shared universe. But it's special, man. First couple hours, very, very special. And also, I think this is going to just fit in with my gaming time right now. You know, you can probably do each chapter, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours tops kind of thing. So I'm scouring. I'm looking at all the things. I'm trying to get as many memories as possible, get as many achievements throughout this thing as possible. So stay tuned, man. I'm going to be playing this for the next little while, I think.
And Marcus O'Neill points out in the chat, huge thank you to Marcus O'Neill, again, one of the organizers of the Backtrackers. May 7th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is the time that the discussion will be taking place for Life is Strange True Colors. So again, if you want to be on board with this or be part of it, again, on the Discord, the Carpool Gaming Discord, join us and come hang out. It's free to join, and it's free to be a part of. You don't have to be a patron or anything like that. So definitely come hang out with us. Plus, the game's on Game Pass as well. So if you're on Xbox and you have Game Pass, it's right there. So definitely check it out there. But also, to your point, Sean, there is one character that kind of connects it together, because there is a returning character from the previous Life is Strange games that actually has like a big part throughout the story.
Oh, so, there you go.
You'll discover that as you play. But as for me, honestly, it's been a light week for Xbox for me personally. I'm working on a couple reviews this week, which is why, my time on Xbox in particular has been more limited than usual. I played more Lego Star Wars. I mean, I finished it. I've been playing some of the extra stuff. In fact, literally after we're done recording today, Court Lalonde and I are actually going to be recording a review discussion for Lego Star Wars.
I'm so jealous.
Be up either tomorrow or the next day, but
nice.
It should be up, before the end of the week. We just haven't set an exact date and time yet, but we'll let you know on the Discord, on the Twitter, on all the places that you find us. So you can go look for more information there. But it will be on this podcast feed as well. So if you're already subscribed to the Xbox Drive, you don't need to do anything else. It'll just pop up in your feed when it's ready to go. And then I've been playing a lot of 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim on Switch, which again is not on Xbox, unfortunately. It's an amazing game, and I've got a review for that coming out this weekend, because I'm going to be recording that this weekend, and it'll be out, I think, on I'm still undecided. It'll probably be out on Sunday or Monday. We'll see. I'm going to consult with Court about that one, because him and I will talk about timing for that.
Okay. I'll let you do that. Yeah. I have to tell you, I started up Call of Duty for 7 minutes, and I was like, I just want to. I think I just want to play True Colors. Like that's actually the pathway that I took to get to. I went from Call of Duty to Life is Strange, and you know what? It was the right call, man. When I play Vanguard, I want to play it and give it the attention that I think that it deserves. I didn't want to just I felt like I was just shooting dudes and running through and not really appreciating it. And I was like, I just want to sit back, have my drink, play a game. So Life is Strange is I save it for these kind of times, this is exactly what I was getting at. So I'm very happy. I'm a happy boy. Awesome. Happy boy.
All right. I'm slamming the brakes on this conversation, Sean, because it's time for some breaking news. And for a while, I thought we would have nothing to talk about today, Sean. But turns out a lot of news came out this morning that we're going to talk about. So that's why actually recording on a Wednesday is always really good for us. So let's start with the games that are coming to Game Pass. So we talked about a Game Pass update last week on the show, Sean. But turns out we got a new Game Pass update for the rest of the games coming out this month, which is pretty awesome. As well as some games that are coming out next month to Game Pass as well. But they didn't give exact dates for those, but we'll talk about that in a second. So first off, the following games are coming to Game Pass. Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion is a real game, and it's out right now on Game Pass. So you can go check that out if you want to play as Turnip Boy and avoiding taxes, I guess. And then on April 26th, we've got 7 Days to Die, Research and Destroy. And then on April 28th, we got Bug Snacks, which we talked about on last week's show. And then Unsold, also on the same day on April 28th. And in addition to that, in the blog post about the Game Pass updates, Xbox did announce also that 2 new Ubisoft games are coming to the service: Assassin's Creed Origins and For Honor's Marching Fire Edition, come to Game Pass at some point in the next month or two, they said. They didn't really give exact dates. We'll give you more after that, but exciting stuff, my friend. So before I tell you about the games that are leaving Game Pass, Sean, what do you think about this lineup? Because for the most part, I don't know what a lot of these games are, but Ubisoft games coming to Game Pass, that's pretty exciting. What do you think?
Ubisoft games coming to Game Pass is definitely the takeaway from here. And it actually makes up for what I think is kind of maybe 2 weeks in a row of like, okay, updates, like starting to feel like, I don't mean to take a shot across the bow, but like this is kind of feeling like what PS Now was doing for a long time, where they go like, we're here too, and we're like, those games are, it's not blowing anybody's hair back, it's not throwing Ryan Turford's Calgary Flames hat off of his head, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not, so it's kind of feeling that way, if I'm being honest with you. So but if you haven't played a game like Assassin's Creed, is it Origins? Did you say Origins or Odyssey?
It's Origins, yeah.
Origins is excellent. Like it really, like Egypt is just, this was one of the games that you and I have talked about before, where prior to Origins, I just didn't understand people getting excited about like the location of Assassin's Creed. And then all of a sudden, like Egypt comes around. And it's like, no, you want to be there. You want to go run around in that area. They completely changed Assassin's Creed from then on. The 3 that came, well, Origins, Odyssey, and then Valhalla, all within sort of like this new style. It's totally worth people playing, but more than just that game, it's like, okay, yeah, Ubisoft, like get in there with this Game Pass love, because I love me, especially last gen. Ubisoft was spectacular, really, really good.
Nice. Yeah, I think this is awesome news. I know we've talked about it on the show before, because we heard last year that a lot of these games were going to start coming, and then we're finally kind of starting the fruits of this. So I want to go to Lee Navarro in the chat, who asked the question, will there come a point where we don't need Ubisoft Connect Plus due to Game Pass? I think right now, at least until the end of the year, no. But I think maybe by this time next year, there's a possibility that if Ubisoft Connect Plus isn't on the service already, I think you're going to get a lot of the same stuff that's on that service on Xbox, and you probably won't need it.
Yeah.
If I'm being perfectly honest. But for now, anyways, or at least for the foreseeable future, I think that that's going to be the case. But Sean, what do you think about this question?
Yeah, it reminds me of like when Stadia came around and there seemed to be a partnership with Ubisoft and Stadia, and I'm like, no, like you picked the wrong ones, Ubisoft. Like come back home. You have a nice relationship with Xbox, and now Stadia, of course, is about 17 feet underground, I think, with some at least a few layers of sediment, just totally buried, dead and gone. Stadia just never stood a chance. So Ubisoft, come back home, come to Xbox. Because I really do think that those games are special, and more people should have access to them. Now, Ryan, what I will say about that though is it kind of feels similar to when EA started to become, like when EA Play came to Xbox Game Pass, where at the time, it was like a good value buy, maybe, or a good decision for Xbox on a investment standpoint, because there's not a lot of like bangers really coming out at EA at the time, and maybe even still now, and Ubisoft now as well. Like I wonder, as a standalone product, what is the value of Ubisoft Plus at this time? I think it's kind of low. Like they got a bit of a dip right now, so maybe it would be a good time for Ubisoft Connect Plus or whatever to find some new life with Xbox Game Pass. And Xbox obviously gets a good value out of that as well. People who are already subscribed, I think that would be a bonus to them. So let's do this, Uncle Phil. Let's lock this down, my friend. But it's not going to solve that. The only issue I have with that is just it doesn't solve the immediate issue that we've just been talking about, which is new stuff. What's the next, like, if they were to sign this deal tomorrow, like what's the next game coming up from Ubisoft that you can look forward to?
Well, that's the thing. The only other games we know about from Ubisoft for the rest of the year are the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake,
which actually would be good.
Might get delayed again.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we've got the Division Homecoming, which is a free-to-play game, because that's the Division kind of like spin-off game.
Yeah.
And then we've got that game from Sean's favorite movie of all time, Avatar, because we got that Avatar game coming.
I'll keep my mind open on that. I will say that, because that could be a thing where the game is actually better than the movie. Like, I think that world could be kind of fun, and the story I feel like the story for that movie is so lame and so done before that maybe I won't care about that as much in a video game if it's just fun to fly around and do stuff.
Well, and again, Ubisoft's biggest release this year is actually on Nintendo Switch only, which is Mario plus Rabbids.
Oh yeah.
So it's just like, yeah,
What are they
it's gonna be
doing?
interesting what's happening this fall. But
They
and
did
got
that
Just
Rainbow.
Dance, of course.
Yeah, well, they did that Rainbow Six game, which did come to Game Pass as well.
Yep, exactly.
Which actually is decent. I think people kind of skipped over it, and I don't know what their expectations were, but I had a fun time with it.
Although there is a possibility as well, because we know that there's a Ubisoft Connect coming up. I think it's next month, actually, before E3, if I'm not mistaken.
Would happen, yeah.
I think there might actually be some stuff there that we just don't know about yet that's coming out this year.
I love it.
From Ubisoft.
We need that from
There you
Ubisoft. I enjoy their showcases. Actually, whatever they do, just bring back Alicia Tyler.
Yeah.
Come on.
Also, going back to real quick about a point you made about, this month for Game Pass being kind of slow, Court Lalonde actually pointed out in the chat, which is, easy to lose sight of. Like, MLB came to Game Pass this month, and then we got Life is Strange True Colors, which I think are two pretty big
Good
games.
point.
Game Pass this month. So we did have some big games, but it just wasn't like the usual breadth of big games, I should say. Especially because Life is Strange wasn't day and date or anything like that either. But
that's actually a good point, because I'm literally playing that game because of Game Pass, so who am I to whine and complain? Good point.
Exactly. But the games leaving Game Pass this month, unfortunately, are actually a better list. So we got, so first of all, these games are all leaving on April 30th. We got Cricket 19, Outlast 2, which is actually a really good horror game, Secret Neighbor, and Streets of Rage 4 is finally leaving Game Pass after coming day and date. It's actually leaving Game Pass. I guess the 2-year agreement's up, unfortunately, for that. But
that's okay. That's not a devastating list.
That makes me sad. I love Streets of Rage 4. Streets of Rage 4. I think that's an awesome
Then
game.
why don't you marry it? If you like it so much. If you love it so much.
I just might, Sean. I just might. But anyways, we should move on. Because, Sean, it's time to talk about your favorite subject in the whole wide world.
Oh, man.
Sonic the Hedgehog. So, Sonic Origins, the Sonic Collection featuring Sonic 1 through 3 plus Knuckles and Sonic CD is arriving on June 23rd. All the games have brand new anniversary modes to them that are changed for 16:9 play, as well as new animated cutscenes that have been added for each game, similar to Sonic Mania's cutscenes. There's also a giant chart about all the different versions of the game and the game itself. The surprise, and we normally don't talk about price, but this price really surprised me. $53.99 Canadian for this collection of 4 Sega Genesis games and a Sega CD game, or $59.99 if you want the deluxe version of the game, which is interesting. And again, what's more interesting, Sean, is there's a giant chart out about this game, about all the different versions of this game and all the things that come with each individual version. There's a bunch of different DLC packs, and each one of them comes with different stuff. But, I'm going to just say this right now. If you're planning on paying full price for this anyways, just pay the $6 extra Canadian dollars and just buy the deluxe edition, because it includes all the other things in it. Otherwise, you get nickel and dime on 4 $10 DLC packs, but you pay $5 more and you get all of those DLC packs included with the main game. So why not just do that? It's very silly. But either way, I'm excited for this collection. I just wish it wasn't so expensive. And it's a Sega game, so it'll go on sale. But Sean, I know you're the resident Sonic person in the house. I want to hear what you have to say about
huge Sonic fan. I've been asking for this, and they gave it to me exactly as I asked for. Not even a little bit. Not only do I really just think that these games they don't feel good to play. He doesn't jump like Mario. He doesn't play like Mario. I guess good for Sega for thinking that they might get away with this sort of thing. I guess there's some fan service that might be winning some people over, and maybe they don't care about it. Maybe they'll just jump to the final, the most expensive one because they're getting this thing. Do you know I feel like the guy who's making it is a big deal. I feel like I saw something that Sega had reached out to somebody to come and do this for them. I don't know if that's resonant or ringing a bell with you at all.
If I remember correctly, I think Christian Whitehead's involved with this, and he was the one who made Sonic Mania,
right?
And did the Sonic CD port, which is also a really good port of that game as well, which is backwards compatible, by the way, on Xbox, and it goes on sale all the time. It's usually less than $5. So, if you just want Sonic CD, you just go play that instead. But but they also reached out to people in the ROM hacking community for Sonic as well, and there's a bunch of people involved from that community, because they're also putting in harder levels, Sean, into this collection as part of those DLC packs.
Oh, cool.
So you can actually get harder versions of all
Awesome.
these levels, which is interesting. As well as they're doing some interesting stuff with it. So
Just water levels the whole time. Just make Sonic swim. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Find
just
the
take every level
bubbles.
and turn it into a water level. That'd just be lovely. So either way, I'm excited for this collection, but I think this is going to be kind of a wait for sale for me on this one.
Sonic's hot right now, though, man. The movie is good. If I haven't said it on the show last week, I will say it at least this week. Go watch the Sonic movie. As much as I have bad things to say about the 2D games, that movie is really special. I really like it. They do something. I bring up water because it's mentioned, it's referenced in the movie. Did you see the movie yet, Ryan Turford? Did you watch this?
No, I haven't. I mean, I'm waiting for Sonic 2 to come to home video, and then
Oh man, treat yourself. Go out there. You get that popcorn. Get the
I don't want to go outside. Outside is scary, Sean.
Sonic movie. Both Argos in the chat. Both movies are great, and I feel like the second one, they're like, oh, people want the games in the movies. Like they changed the look of Sonic after the fact, but yeah, like Chaos Emeralds and water references and Robotnik's giant mustache. Like it's really good, man. It's really good.
Yeah. I'm excited to check it out at some point, but yeah, we're still waiting on that.
Somebody start to question your fandom there, Ryan.
It's fine.
No, I wouldn't, but some people might out there.
I mean, I haven't been to a movie theater in like 3 years at this point.
Fair enough.
I'm not going to break the streak right now.
Okay.
Well, next up, news to get Sean more excited, actually. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge has a release window. We haven't had a release date at all for this game, but .emu, the developer, has confirmed it will arrive this summer. So we don't have an exact release date, just sometime this summer. We'd expect this game to come out. We also don't have a date for the Cowabunga collection yet either. I'm imagining that's also coming out this summer as well, but I'm excited for this one, man. I mean, they showed off some new gameplay today because they played a whole level today. If you want to go watch that, there's videos of it on, I think it was an IGN exclusive, which is where I pulled this from. But I think it's circulating on all the other social media platforms.
Yeah.
But Sean, are you excited? Are you hyped for this game yet?
Oh man, you know what? And it's few games that really can get away with this little trickle of news that we've been getting, but for whatever reason, like just go ahead, man. It's like this tantric kind of approach to this game. Like just keep edging me, baby. Let's keep going with it. They also have like an 11-minute gameplay video on IGN as well that people should definitely check out. This game, it's a lot of what we just talked about with Sonic. Like it's a huge nostalgia pull. I'm so excited about it. I think that I actually snagged this one in our carpool gaming fantasy critic league that we did. So
I believe so.
I have it in a couple other leagues as well. So I've been watching this game quite closely. I think it could be maybe a bit of a hit later on this year, my friends. So bring on the Sonic love. There's also, was it this? No, it was the Cowabunga collection that has like they released they showed what the collection looks like, and it's just spectacular, dude.
Yeah, they even announced a new physical edition for it because there's a collector's edition for the Cowabunga collection coming.
Yeah.
It's $200 Canadian.
Good God.
But it looks
The
pretty cool.
stupid edition. Yeah, people
I'm
reacting to the chat.
I'm contemplating that one.
Are you really?
Contemplating it, Sean.
Yeah, don't go to a movie. Just do the $200 stupid collector's editions.
It's not a matter of money. I just don't want to go outside. Is there something wrong with not wanting to go outside, Sean?
I get it. Clear as day. Yep, makes sense.
All right. Next up, this was actually news that was on last week's show, but I wanted to bring it up again because we actually missed it due to time constraints.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Brian X says it's the same voice actors as the OG movies in Shredder's Revenge. I don't think I knew that. Is that true?
I didn't know that either, but
we need to fact check Brian Eck on that one. Goodness gracious, because that's awesome. The actual as the movies. Oh my goodness.
Also, shout out to Rebecca Rubin Navarro for also, understanding that Hermit Life, Sean.
Hermit Life, yeah. I get it. I love the movies though, dude.
Anyways, Iron Chronicle Rising. We finally have a release date for it. This is actually like the action RPG spin-off of Iodine Chronicle 100 Heroes, which is made by the same developers who made the Suikoden series. And this, of course, is highly aligned with Xbox because both of those are actually going to be Game Pass Day 1 games, which is awesome to see. And not only that, but this is only coming to Xbox and PC Day 1. But Iodine Chronicle Rising, the prequel, that's an action RPG, is coming day and date to Game Pass on May 10th. So it's right around the corner, and the developer confirmed that, again, Iodine Chronicle 100 Heroes is still scheduled for release sometime next year. This news got me super excited, Sean, because we're not very close to this game, which looks really awesome. They released a new trailer for it, and I'm very excited about this. Again, it's like a 2.5D game. And it looks like it's going to be a really fun action RPG, so I can't wait to play this one. Whereas I don't think this one's on your radar at all.
Well,
Right,
remind me, this is, I mean, for you to say like I'm excited for that you're excited about this one's like shocking. I'm to quote I'm going to die from a heart attack.
Japanese RPG, Sean.
I'm going to die from a heart attack from not surprised. Rest in peace, Gilbert Gottfried, Aladdin, Yago. No, it looks cool. Is this the one that is a spiritual successor to Suikoden?
Yeah, but this is the action RPG spin-off of that because they did a whole Kickstarter for it, and one of their goals on the Kickstarter was to do this, action RPG prequel that was then going to set up events for the main game, the main successor coming out next year.
Very cool. I mean, people speak very highly about those games, so I am intrigued. I'm not like I think I'll use this term every single week. I'm not pushing little kids over to get to the front of the line of this one, but I'll check it out. I'm glad that you're excited about it. I'm glad that we're talking about this kind of game on this show. I feel like it's a indie kind of Kickstarter kind of thing, and not everybody's going to be talking about it. So yeah, we'll show it some love, definitely.
Well, not only that, but again, exclusive to Xbox.
Exclusive. Yes,
and we don't get that very often for Japanese role-playing games.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, we'll celebrate it.
Mm-hmm. Also, I'm going to point out that, Brian Eck in the chat pointed out that Cam Clark, Townsend Coleman, Barry Golden, and Rob Paulson are all returning for Shredder's Revenge. And
his name was Rob Paulson.
Of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Rob Paulson also did, by the way, the voice of Yakko.
Yes,
Wacko
Animaniacs.
And he was also Pinky.
Yes. Rob Paulson, of course. Not just a character in Fight Club. Meatloaf.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's a different character. Do you know what I'm talking about with that? Is that a reference?
I've seen Fight Club, John. I've only played the Fight Club game which allows you to play as Fred Durst.
I've seen Fight Club about 38 times. Get us out of here. What are we doing?
Last news story of the week comes to us that breaking basically right before we actually start recording today, honestly. Shadowrun Trilogy Console Edition has been announced. It will arrive on Xbox One and Series X and S on June 21st, and it'll be a day one Game Pass release as well. So more day one Game Pass releases, which is awesome. And
can't you already get the rest of them already now on Game Pass? Like just separately? Is that the thing?
But no, they actually are not on Xbox right
now. No, I'm thinking Shadow Warrior. I'm totally thinking Shadow Warrior. This is Shadowrun. What the heck is Shadowrun? What is this game?
Shadowrun is basically a CRPG from the 90s. They basically did like a remastered version on PC that came out quite a few years ago. It's on GOG right now, so if you are on PC, you can play it there. But what this announcement was them basically retooling the game for consoles, and they're actually re-releasing it there. And again, it's going to be a day one release. It looks pretty cool. It's basically this like cyberpunky, futuristic CRPG, but then there's a lot of fantasy elements in it because there are elves and dwarves and traditional races.
That's cool.
In fantasy stuff. And if you remember back to the Xbox 360 days, Sean, there was a Shadowrun multiplayer only shooter that was exclusive to Xbox, and they basically did that as like a big, reboot of the series.
Yeah.
That I know a lot of people liked. I think it was on Halo Saturday. Someone was talking about Shadowrun, actually.
And I was probably thinking they were talking about Shadow Warrior and very confused the entire time. You can see how I could mix up the two. A lot of shadows.
Of course. But Shadowrun is the OG series, and then, Shadow Warrior is a new series.
What about Shadow Man? Wasn't that a 64 game or a PlayStation game? Was it Shadow Man? He had, bald guy with, glasses. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about, but I don't think it's called Shadow
Man. Shadow Man, yeah. He has he's holding a skull. He kind of looks...
That's a
Acclaim
Night Studio game.
There you go.
MVG worked on that game. But anyways...
Too many shadows.
Either way, Shadowrun Trilogy Console Edition looks pretty cool. I think the trailer looks awesome, so if you're interested, go check out the trailer. And again, Game Pass day and date games. We got two of them in a row we just talked about, Sean. Iron Chronicle Rising and Shadowrun Trilogy. So cool stuff coming to Game Pass this summer, my friend. But anyways, let's let some of our friends into the car with us. It is time for the carpool. So we had a couple questions, Sean, before, during Carpool Gaming Day about how people get questions on the show. So I want to reiterate it here, how you get your question read on the show. There's a number of awesome ways to do that. Number one, if you're watching on YouTube, you can leave questions in the comment section for next week's show. So, and we'll read them on next week's show. Also, if you're on our Discord, which again, it's free to join, the links in the show notes below. If you just go to the Xbox Drive section and just tag either Sean or I in a post saying, hey, by the way, I've got a question for the show, you can do it that way. Although we do put up a question post every single, usually Tuesday night as well on the Discord, so you can reply to that as well. Or as well, if you follow us on Twitter at Carpool Gaming on Twitter, we put up a question post usually with Sean in his old man chair, just talking to his phone, asking for questions there, and you can leave your questions on Twitter as well, just like Hopple on the Discordia did. And he actually asked this question during Ubisoft pre-day, which is now Carpool Gaming Day. And he asked the question, what is this quote-unquote obsession with exclusive titles? I thought console wars should be mostly over. I mostly play third-party games, not because there's nothing exclusive, but because they are games I like Mass Effect 3 or Elden Ring. There's a lot to play, no need for new games, and even if I had more time, I will need to go in my backlog, aka my local library.
Yes.
He's got a lot of games in his backlog. He listed that he has 400 games on Xbox in his backlog, about 200 games on his PlayStation backlog, and about 80 games on his Switch backlog. That's a pretty big backlog.
Yeah, you're good. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So what's the obsession with exclusive titles? I think it's just because our consoles, the consoles are so similar to each other between PlayStation 5 and Series X. Like, there's only little nitpicky differences between the two of them. Besides, of course, the fact that you can fit the Series X in your house, Sean. Am I right? Oh,
I made it through the door. You're right.
Exactly.
No wheelbarrow needed.
Beyond that, what other thing is there really to compare them to besides the exclusive games? And I think that's just where a lot of that, hang up kind of comes from. I know from our community, the Carpool Gaming community, for the most part, we don't really engage in the console wars. We like to talk about exclusives because exclusives are cool. And a lot of times what ends up happening with exclusives is since they're made by, the console developer, a lot of times there's usually a certain level of quality to them that makes them worth talking about. Mm-hmm. So we talk about it from that perspective, but for the most part, we don't really engage in it, but I think that's more of the core why you kind of see the console wars be a thing. It's just because people need to, feel the need sometimes to represent their one side or the other and kind of go that way. But Sean, what do you think about this question?
It's a big question. It's funny because when I think of console wars, that my first thought is not actually the exclusive games. Oddly enough, it's been dominated by power for so long, and maybe this is just me being old, but Sega can do what Nintendo don't, like the power, the blast processor, all this stuff, like 16 bits and whatever else. Like that seems to have been the core of the console wars for the longest time. But I guess to your point, in terms of performance and the output of these machines, they are so similar. You can get down to the digital foundry crazy detail and going wow, this one's 57 frames per second and this one's actually 59, and who cares? What I think though is, I was thinking about this as I was listening to an episode of Sacred Symbols. Actually, it was Knockback. They play old stuff, and they were talking about Uncharted 2, and I was reminded that especially during that time, PS3 era, I would look to exclusives to show what is possible on the console. And I think Uncharted is actually a really good example of that. And I think Gears in the Xbox land is an example of that as well, where if a developer doesn't have to build a game for 5 different console specs, they can just hone in on the one singular platform, then you can get a lot out of it. So my obsession with exclusive titles is kind of more along the lines of that. Well, what can you do if you don't have to consider all these other different platforms if you're just focused on one thing? That's why I get excited. The other side of it, though, too, is what third-party exclusives are we talking about? Is it a Street Fighter kind of thing? That gets a little bit dicey. Is it a Rise of the Tomb Raider? Of course, that gets a little bit weird. So first-party stuff, I think, is really interesting. But also, not everybody's able to have an Xbox and a PlayStation and a Nintendo Switch. So it's not even necessarily a console war kind of thing. It's just I have one thing, so hopefully it has good games on it. And of course, to maybe Hopple's point, there's a lot of games that come out for everything. But yeah, if that's the case, then it's almost a non-factor. The only thing remaining is, what are the games that only come out for the system that I care about? So I don't begrudge anybody for wanting good exclusives on their thing, but to the point of, does it make me a better person or my plastic box better than your plastic box? No, but I don't want to dismiss what I think is otherwise a pretty interesting conversation just to avoid any sort of console war kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, next up, we got TPR on the Discord who asked the question, what Xbox franchise is sorely in need of some die-hard fan developers?
Oh.
For context for this question, a prominent fan in the Sonic ROM hack community took the reins on the Sonic 3 remaster that we just talked about in the news, and previously was a big part of Sonic Mania. So, yeah, as far as games that really need, die-hard fan developers, I honestly think that it's a unique situation with Sega because these games are, remasters of classic games, because for the most part they don't really have this type of, fan support, with the exception of Sonic Mania, which again was trying to just be a Genesis game that you can buy on modern platforms in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So it's not something, I think it's a lot harder of a question to ask when looking at Microsoft Studios, because so many of them emerged in, the original Xbox generation, which is kind of like the 3D era. Like, we don't really have like Xbox era games that originate before that. So I think it's harder to ask, a fan developer to kind of like, or likewise, we're not seeing fan mods for a lot of this stuff, except for games like Halo, which have Forge, or some of the other Bethesda games, like Skyrim and stuff like that. So as far as games that don't already do that already and don't have like tools in games for that already, I'm going to maybe say Gears, I think, because I would love to see maybe more Gears get more like user-generated content. I think that would be cool. Like maybe with Gears 6, maybe they open up some tools and maybe include something like Forge mode where people can develop their own maps or game modes and stuff like that. Like, I think that would be pretty interesting. But this one's a tough one to answer, Sean, so I'm going to throw it to you. What do you think?
Banjo-Kazooie is the one, and I want it actually 2D. I want like a Donkey Kong style like country. Banjo-Kazooie is exactly what I would want. That's my official answer. But it also kind of just has to, I have to point out the elephant in the room, is that like you're sticking with like tried and like true Xbox franchises, and I'm going like, what have they bought? Like, I'm going straight to Rare. Like, give me any of those things. You can go back. I feel like, was it John Romero or somebody involved with Doom just created new Doom maps, I think, for the first time in like 20 or 30 years or something?
Yep. Well, we also had something similar with that with the Quake reboot, because we had Machine Games come in and then develop a bunch of new maps for that, which again, for re-releases like that, I think that's actually a really good move. Also, to kind of correct you on your Banjo-Kazooie point, a game like that does exist. It's actually a top-down game instead of a side-scrolling game, but it's Banjo-Kazooie's Grunty's Revenge on Game Boy Advance. I knew that there was a Banjo game in 2D,
nice,
and I couldn't remember what it was called.
Top-down?
I just looked it up as well.
Oh, wow, that's fascinating. But yeah, that'd be a great way for that to come back, I think, too. And yeah, to your point, like the 3D stuff, I don't know if we're quite there, but the 2D stuff, let's go for it, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. And actually, now that I think about it, one that would be good for that is actually Battletoads, because we had that Battletoads remake, which I thought was actually I liked that game more than a lot more people did. But maybe you bring in some fan developers for that, and I think that would be pretty cool. But then last question, and this one's a question for me, Sean, but I had to include it here. So this comes to us from a conversation that we had on the Patrons Podcast for Patrons Podcast, which is a Patreon exclusive podcast that we do, from Joey Splats, who asked the question, what can we do to get Ryan to eat a donut live on the Xbox Drive? Because
please.
We learned, Sean, that I don't eat donuts because I don't eat sweet things at all, because this is a personal...
Get that Long John. Just get it up in there, Ryan. Come on. Sprinkles.
And the answer is, it's not happening. I'm sorry. You can try and pay me any amount of money, Sean, but we're not making it a goal, because you already said you don't want me to break my streak, and I don't want to break my streak.
How do I get in the position where maybe people would pay me to eat a donut? Can we do that? I would gladly accept dollars too. I'll take Ryan's money and I'll eat the donut. How about that? You can pay Ryan, but just give me the money and then I'll eat the donut.
I mean, I'm totally cool with that, Sean. If you want to ever eat a donut on the Xbox Drive at any time, if Joey Splats wants to throw in the money for that, I'm totally cool with that.
Please.
But I'm not doing it.
Yeah, so, all the donuts.
Anyways, we got to get going, Sean. Before we go, Sean Plug's.
I had a great time chatting with you, Ryan Turford. I had a great time chatting with everybody here at youtube.com/carpoolgaming. If you want to find me on the internet, I'm on Twitter and on Twitch at Sean Capri. It's Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants, and you can join everybody. We're almost at 100 patrons. We're on the road to 100 patrons. We're on the road to 1,000 subs on YouTube. Go to patreon.com/carpoolgaming, youtube.com/carpoolgaming. My goodness gracious. Click all the links, buy all the merch. We're rocking and rolling, my friend. I'm feeling good about stuff. That's it for me.
Very nice, my friend. As for me, you can find me on Twitter at Ryan Turford. You can find us on Twitter at Carpool Gaming, on YouTube at youtube.com/carpoolgaming, and on podcast services around the globe. So, for Sean Capri, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been episode 237 of the Xbox Drive, and we out. Bye.
This episode of the Xbox Drive was recorded in front of a live YouTube audience, and there is no laughter that we have to put in. We're gonna have to think about how we're gonna do that. The audience kind of like almost like a sitcom kind of laughter. We'll do it because I want people to laugh at my own jokes that I can hear it too. Bye.